go alone, yeah. Sweet, sweet kiss, how I live out. Never go alone. You take it from Peter today, Paul will take it from you tomorrow, mama. Sweet, sweet, living is sweet, oh, whether rich or poor. Boy, don't pray for long fellow, he can pray for long life. As long as they live, you know, the better we grow. Fine, power is fine, oh, it can make you heavy. It's just like a brook, you know, it way to capsize. Sweet, sweet kiss our liver. Not for go alone. He might be can eat it, or a picture can eat it. Kiss our oh, sweet kiss our oh. Not for go alone. You take it from Peter today, or Paul will take it from you tomorrow, mama. You take it from me right today, or mother will take it from you tomorrow. Fine, go by your fine, when in your favor. Well, people do to you, you got to cry. Hard enough for one person, oh, it's a matter of time. Hard time is a lesson, yeah, brother, this I had. Sweet kiss our liver, not for go alone, mama. Human being can eat it, oh, the deer can eat it. Ah, kiss our liver. Our liver, not for go alone. Human beings can eat it, or a creature eat it too. Sweet, sweet, living is sweet, oh, whether rich or poor. Why not pray for long fellow? They can pray for long life. As long as they're living, the better we grow. You take it from me right today, oh, Mira will take it from you tomorrow, mama. Hey, you take it from Peter today, oh, Paul will take it from you tomorrow. Fine, power is fine, oh, it can make you heavy. Looking like a crooked, no, equate to capsize. Ah, Kesawalia, ah, Kesawalia, mama, no for go alone. When I pray for long fellow, they always pray for long life. As long as they're living, the better we grow. Sweet, sweet kiss our liver, not for go alone. After not for one person, oh, it's a matter of time, papa. After is a lesson, yeah, brother, this I had. I'm about away, never where my way gone. Be your woe. I'm about away, papa, yeah. Sweet, sweet kiss our liver, not for go alone, yeah. Sweet, sweet kiss our liver, not for go alone. You take it from Peter today, Paul will take it from you tomorrow, mama. Sweet, sweet, living is sweet, oh, whether rich or poor. don't pray for long fellow, he can pray for long life. As long as they live, the better we grow. Fan power if it can make you heavy. It's just like a volcano, it way to capsize. Sweet, sweet kiss our liver, not for go alone. He won't be can eat it, or a picture can eat it. Kiss our liver, oh, sweet kiss our liver, not for go alone. You take it from Peter today, or Paul will take it from you tomorrow, mama. You take it from me right today, or mother will take it from you tomorrow. Fine, oh, by your fine, when in your favor. Well, people do to you, you go to cry. Has enough for one person, it's a matter of time. Our time is a lesson, yeah, brother, this I have. Sweet, sweet kiss our liver, not for go alone, mama. Human being can eat it, the deer can eat it. Kiss our liver. It's our liver, not for go alone. Human beings can eat it, or a creature eat it too. Sweet, sweet, living is sweet, whether rich or poor. Why not pray for long fellow? They can pray for long life. As long as they're living, the better we grow.
Oh, yes, indeed, birds do not pray for long feathers. They know as long as they are living, their feather will grow. Indeed, folks, would like to say good evening to all of you and welcome this evening to the Heat Out here on BKS Television. Welcome to the one and only talk show in Nema, Liberia, where we bring you happening around Nema and Liberia and the rest of the world. On the Hita, we say dialogue and not confrontation. We say words and not bullet. In today's edition of the show, we're going to be hosting Dr. Gompu of Nema County, an economist. He will be here on the show tonight to give us his experience. We're going to be asking him all of the latest questions. Dr. George Gompu will be our guest on the show tonight. George Gompu is a very seasoned educator. He holds a bachelor degree from the University of Liberia, an MBA degree from Northwestern University, and also a PhD degree. He will be here on the show tonight. Dr. Gompu is also an economist. He also contested in the senatorial election in Nema County. They just ended senatorial election in Nema County. You'll be joining us tonight, and we will basically be discussing leadership, what leadership is. We're also going to be discussing politics. We'll be discussing developments. And these plus many more discussion we're going to have here tonight with Dr. Gompu on the show. But again, folks, as always, when we come here, we like to recognize those of you following us via Facebook and YouTube. Tell us where you're listening to us from this time, and tell us your name, where you're following the show from this evening. Let's try to bring you updates from Monrovia, Liberia. Let's bring you updates from Monrovia, Liberia, latest today in Liberia. Let's bring you the latest happening today in Liberia. And so China delivers a first batch of 720 metric ton rice grain to Liberia under Boakai's and Shane bilateral part. The government of Liberia has confirmed the imminent arrival of the first consignment of rice from the People's Republic of China, marking the beginning of 3,600 metric ton of food aid grant to the country. Now, the biggest question is, who are the beneficiaries of this thing? Because recently, during the George Weah-led administration, a lot of haul and pull. When Liberia received rice from Japan, the rice were sold to people. There were no bid out for people to go to bid on the rice. They were given to people of interest. They bought it and they brought it to the market. They sell it at their own cost. But now, under this Joseph Boakai administration, this is a donation to Liberia. What are we going to do with this donation? Is it going to be given to, people that are in need of it? Is it going to be? I remember during the days of WFP in Liberia, the World Food Program, there were foods distributed to government institutions across the country. Is this food going to be given to the less fortunate? Is it going to be given to prisons facilities? Is it going to be given to government institutions across the country for government students to benefit from them? I don't know yet, but what I can tell you is that under the George Weah-led administration, similar donations were made by the Japanese government. And credible information we gathered was that these rice, when they came in the country, the Minister of Commerce and also the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, they unilaterally just took somebody and they gave the rights to individuals to sell it on the market. Even if the country wants to sell the rice, at least there should be a bid out there where sellers or buyers will come to bid on the rice, and then they will carry it to the market to sell it at a specific cost. But then during the administration of George Weah, things like that were not done. So I'm thinking whether or not under this administration too, a similar thing will be happening. But again, we are hopeful that maybe the rice will be given to people in need of them instead of them being sold on the market. But again, let's welcome to the show this evening. Comrade Takpo B. Sewa, manager of VIX platform. Takpo, good evening to you and welcome. It's to my knowledge that you're watching us from Monrovia, Liberia. Welcome to the show this evening. D. Lawrence Glenwood, also watching us from Morris's Farm Community, Monrovia, Liberia. Lawrence, welcome to the show this evening. How you doing? Tell us where you're watching us from this evening, and let's know where you're following the show from this evening. Again, like we said in our intro, our guest tonight on the show will be Dr. George Kompu, a 16th professor of economics and also a former senatorial candidate in the senatorial by-election in Nima will be our guest tonight on the show. And our discussion here tonight will center around leadership, politics, and development. Of course, we are hoping that tonight's show will be a very great one, a very wonderful one. All of the folks are in the back. Let me tell you before I bring the CEO on. Today, I don't know whether I should say it's a bad day for the CEO or not. TD0. Yeah. That's what the CEO received today. That's what Manchester United received. Siawete is also in the back. I'm going to be going to my brother Siawete to bring him on. And the first thing I want to hear from him is that played today. How was it, But let's bring Shadrach on. Let's bring the CEO on already. And let's go for Siawete. Siawete, my brother, how you doing, Chief? I like the glasses,
Yeah, John, thank you. I mean, it has been a rocket weekend for me. Few days, I'm sorry I've not been, able to show up on the show. But
Yeah.
thank you very much and the team for holding the ground very strong. And I mean, it's a very hard weekend because my dear team, Manchester United, we are going through a lot. And then all of the districts I'm supporting, they are also District 4, my maternal birthplace, we lost. And then District 1, where I grew up, went to school, and did everything I can say my home. They also defeated us today. District
Thank God you're not from District 5. Thank God you got nothing to do with District 5.
so
Yeah,
District
thank God.
5. So I just got all of district
No.
hanging on now. But I mean, as it is, that's the game. We are still hopeful because that's football. But I know Manchester United will bounce back. For me, I don't. That's the beginning of the season. We just need to
No,
work on.
Charity, as a football fan, I don't blame Manchester United. I blame FIFA and I blame Premier League because they can't pair you with Man City. For God's sake, man. At least Chelsea can be playing Man City, Liverpool can play Man City, Arsenal can play Man City, but not Manchester United. With the kind of form you're in to go play
No,
Man
but
City.
Man City is a kid to us when it comes to football. So we don't.
Okay.
Man City and Man U, they are not even
And I
playing.
history want to depend on. And I history want to depend on.
That history
No, no,
was
no,
the
no.
past 5 seasons. You are not
Yeah,
good than City.
We got our guests in the back already, so
Yeah, I mean, we're going to skip the what's on your mind today and just bring the guests
I'm
on.
telling you, we already had a lot of things on mind to say, but the guest is here.
we'll keep it for after the fact. Maybe we can ask the guests, about which team he's rooting for, his district, and then if he leads us into that discussion, then we
I better get man.
I better get man.
Yeah.
They get a 4-0.
Oh, there's a district tournament in the county right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. I haven't been really following. I thought that you guys were talking about the European League. I'm hearing all those teams. The European. I was hearing European names, so I thought you were talking about the European games.
Yeah.
There is a district league going on currently in the in Nima, and it's held in Saklapia.
Okay, and who's sponsoring?
Couple
Is
of
it a county?
sponsor this platform. This platform is also a sponsor to them. It's to my knowledge that Nima TV is also sponsoring. Asila Mentai is also sponsoring. A couple of different institutions sponsoring the league.
That's
The
great.
main sponsor is one of Nima's sons is one of the being a long-standing ally to the county sports steering committee of Marco Tike. I think the CEO, the CEO to WBHO that is subcontracting with a meter. Yeah.
Okay. WBHO, is that a Nimba company?
Is run and operated by Nimbae. They are responsible for the construction and rehabilitation. I know the railway. Yeah, the railway.
Okay. The management of it and the
management
oversight.
of the railway. Yeah. So,
That's good.
And so that it's good having you on the show here tonight. I mean, it's going to be like a way of learning and all of that for us. So, without further ado, let's dive into the discussion, getting to know who you are, where you hail from, your educational background, and then maybe your experience in working and all of that. Let's start the conversation from there, Chief.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry I didn't send you a copy of my resume, but you can see my name on the screen. It's pronounced Gompu. And if you're from Nimba, I think you got a sense of the interpretation of that name. I was born in District 3, Kample area. My village is Lole, near Kample. And I grew up in Saninkole. That's where I went to K through 12, except for a very short time that I spent in Monrovia. And then following that, I went to the University of Liberia, study economics and political science. And after university, I taught at the university as a teaching assistant for a year. And I also worked at Ministry of Public Works as a cadet. And I worked for LEC for a year as a procurement supervisor. And following that, I came to the United States. I have a PhD in economics with emphasis in international monetary economics and development. I have a master's in financial economics from Western University. And I returned to Liberia in 2009 and served as budget director of the country and deputy finance minister for budget, and was involved in a number of projects around the country, including projects in Nimba County, the development and the creation of what is referred to today as the Nimba University. Was done during the term I served as deputy minister of finance for budget. So some of the first funding that went into starting that institution, I'm very happy to have been a part of that process. And in addition to that, we helped to build some schools around the county as well. And I have been a student activist. I've been a community leader. I've served as president of the Liberian Community Association in Illinois. At the time I was in graduate school, and throughout at the University of Liberia, I was active in the Student Unification Party, rising to the level of co-chair of the party. So here I am, and I am happy for the opportunity for us to discuss some issues surrounding leadership, development, and politics in our county. And we know that Nimba County is a critical political and developmental institution in Liberia. And where Nimba goes is where the country goes. When Nimba changes, and when Nimba rises, Liberia rises. So I'm happy to be on your platform to begin a relationship and to begin a discussion.
Great. I think you've been following a couple of news recently in Liberia. You being an economist, you also serve as a procurement the procurement director in Liberia and all of that. I want us to start the conversation with the recent decrease in the U.S. rate in the country. There have been a couple of interviews done with citizens across the country, and they have been saying that the U.S. rate has decreased immensely, but it's not affecting the prices of goods across the country. Why do you think so as an economist?
Yeah, it is surprising. I am still following the data. I know that the policy stance in the country right now is basically to adhere to IMF requirements to reduce the inflation rate. And in monetary policy making, the way to reduce, one of the ways they use to reduce the inflation rate is to make the money hard to find, to reduce the money supply. So when you reduce the money supply, then that makes the money more expensive, and it can help to reduce the cost of things. So basically, Liberia is in a tricky situation because the economy is very open. And by open, it means that many of the goods and services we buy in the market are imported, produced in other countries. And when you import those goods into the country, in order to make your money and make a profit, you always find ways to sell the goods at a higher price than the price you pay to bring the goods into the country. So as a result of that, what is happening to the price of that good on the international market will influence the price you sell the goods for in Liberia. So whether or not Liberia's exchange rate is becoming stronger, or whether or not the value of the Liberian currency is becoming stronger, it will not encourage you to reduce your price. So if anything, if it will reduce prices, then it will have to be those products that are produced in the country. But at the same time, the products produced in the country, we expect that maybe it should help, but then those products have to be transported. The transportation involves petroleum, which is not produced in the country, is also imported. So if they're paying higher for petroleum, then again, it's going to be difficult for it to affect the goods produced domestically. So all of the data is not in yet. This is just a recent development that happened in less than 2 weeks ago. And so we have to look at the data holistically before we really clearly understand and judge what is going on. But it is true that the exchange rate has falling, and it means that the Liberian dollar has become stronger, but the central bank goal is to reduce inflation. I don't think their focus is on production in the economy. Their focus is not on job creation. And so the central bank has a single goal, which is to reduce inflation. And the way the IMF advised them to reduce inflation is to make the Liberian dollar hard to find. If you make the Liberian dollar hard to find by reducing the supply of the Liberian dollar, then that will reduce the price of the US dollar.
One of the issues.
Let me ask Doc real quick. So with that strategy you just talked about, how sustainable is that in the long term for our country?
Well, how sustainable is that? It depends on what you call sustainability and what you mean when you say sustainable. Because if your goal is to reduce inflation, then they're saying that if you make part of the reason why you have inflation in a country is because there is too much money in circulation. So that's the point. If there's too much money in circulation, the money becomes cheaper, the exchange rate goes up. So then they're saying that reduce the quantity of money in circulation, and then that will reduce the inflation rate. And what we're seeing, and what the question referred to, is that the money is hard to find, the exchange rate is going down, but the prices are not going down. Mm-hmm. So that tells you that price may not be determined just by the exchange rate alone. You see, sometimes one economic variable can be moved by several other variables. See, so if just one of those variables is the exchange rate or the amount of money in circulation, another variable that could be influencing the price is the cost of importation, the cost of energy, the cost of transportation. So if all those other variables are not moving downwards, and only the money supply is moving downwards, so it's possible that the money supply could be reduced, and because electricity cost is still high, energy cost is still high, petroleum cost is still high, then the impact of the exchange rate might be negligible. And therefore, you might not see those prices going down. But usually when these things happen for economists, we can do this analysis, but usually we want to look at the data, we want to run it through the model before we can determine to say, okay, these are the real causes, and these are some of the things you need to do. So to me, I think that I've said it when I was running for Senate, and when I was running for president, one of the things I said was that the Central Bank of Liberia should not only have one goal, should not only have one mandate. We need to give the central bank more responsibilities to not only think about inflation, but to also think about employment,
Right.
and to also think about production in the economy. So if the central bank have multiple goals, then it will have to think twice before it says, well, let's just reduce the money supply and our job is done. Because you also want to think about the happiness of the people in terms of whether their children are getting good jobs and whether it is easy for them to get money, for them to get funding for their businesses. So in the United States, for example, the central bank used to only have that goal of controlling inflation. But the government has changed that. And the Central Bank of the United States, which is the Federal Reserve Bank now, has a dual mandate to control prices in terms of inflation and to also ensure maximum employment. So the central bank has to wear those two hats in the process of trying to manage the money supply. You see, but so these changes that occur, we tend to follow, Liberia tend to follow the United States, but sometimes when the people make changes, we're still on the same track. You see, in terms of we're not updating, our strategy in light of all of the information coming in. So those are some of the things that have happened to Liberia as well.
Thank you.
Now, to end up on this one before we go to the political side, many citizens have also been complaining that most of the goods prices were in US dollars at the time the rate was at 190, 192, 198. But now when they go to buy goods that they were pricing in US dollars, now they charge them in Liberian dollars. Why do you think it's so?
Well, I think that is wrong. I think that since Liberia has a law that says that we are a dual currency economy, it means that by law, the customer should be able to pay in either of those currencies. So if you prefer to pay in US dollar, people should not deny you. I think it should be illegal for businesses to deny you if you want to pay in US dollar. And it should also be illegal for businesses to deny you if you want to pay in Liberian dollars. Once the law says that these are the two currencies we're using, then I think the businesses are on the wrong side and they should be called to book, meaning that those customers should report those businesses to the authorities that they are violating Liberian law. You cannot be in Liberian territory as a business and go against Liberian law.
Thank you. Now to the political side, you contested in the just ended senatorial by-election. There have been this rumor around the country that you didn't even go back to Liberia to vote. You were in the United States. How true is this information?
Well, the elections have come and gone. I think our focus now should be on the leadership of the county, those who were presented as the best candidate and who won the elections. I think we should all now rally to support them and to make sure that our county goes forward. I did the best I could. I went across the county. I met so many of the voters. I visited and campaigned in all of the 9 electoral districts. I did the best I could to present my platform. But given the fact that it was a by-election, we had only 2 months to campaign, and the elections were unexpected. So the strategies had to be very different because it was a by-election, and it went the way it did. So I have accepted the results, and I've embraced the winner. And so now we all need to make Nimba County first, rather than going back to look at what happened in the campaign.
Since the election over, what have been your engagement with the people of Nimba?
Since the election has been over, my engagement continues. I have to support my family. I have to support people whose educational opportunities are being facilitated by my help. I have to support my political party. So I have been working and doing my duties in light of my responsibilities. And I stay in touch with our people. I stay in touch with my partisans, party leadership. And so my engagement has not changed. I continue to stay engaged.
You've been following news recently from Nimba. There is this little haw and pull between politicians of Nimba County currently in regards to the vice president and also the senator of Nimba, the one you contested against, Senator Samuel Gongwen Koga. He expressed some dissatisfaction recently on media, and the others were calling for some sort of reconciliation between the two parties. But unfortunately, the others, as we see right now, they have been like divided from one end because some of the others went on media to castigate the senator, and some of them to also talk to the media, creating a name for themselves, condemning the act of that other. What say you in this Lima issue?
Well, I've followed the issues, and I've looked at some of the allegations that the senator has made. And I should say that when you look at the leadership structure of Nimba County right now, there are 2 people with the highest position in the county, and that's Senator Koga and Senator Twaye. Following that, we have the members of the House of Representatives, and following that, we have the administrative executive group. So I don't see any need for the senator to be in any conflict with anyone over the issue of Nimba's leadership, especially when that person is now among the leadership of Nimba County. The vice president is from Nimba County. He's like a citizen. He's a citizen of Nimba County, like any one of us. But when it comes to the leadership of Nimba County at this time, his name is not on that list. So what are the issues? I think that people say that elections have consequences. The vice president was instrumental in putting Koga forward, in telling people in Nimba County that among all of us who were running, Koga was the best. Koga has won the election. Election has consequences. Koga should be given a chance to do his work and to be the leader of the county. If there's anything, there are any kind of issues regarding NIMBA leadership, I think it should be about maybe Koga and Yan discussing about strategy, about moving forward. I don't think the vice president should be playing any role in that. The best the vice president can do right now is to be an advisor. That is the kind of leadership that people like Jackson Hebdo provided when he moved up from leadership in the county. People like David Doyen, when they move up. So you got to make choices. When you make these choices in terms of saying, I have served in a county, I want elevation to go to the national level, and you have that opportunity, then you have to step back. Take an advisory role. Give these people who have been elected by the people maximum chance to prove themselves. If they're not performing, if you're giving the chance and they're not performing, then we can begin to have conversation to step in to then say that maybe we need to limit their role, or we need to give the advisors more strength to influence how they lead. So I don't see any reason for effective leadership in a county for Senator Koga and Vice President Kuhn to be arguing over who is to be the most powerful leader in the county. We had a situation where we had an extraordinary senator who, may peace be to his ashes, who gained a lot of support and a lot of loyalty due to his role in the Civil War. And recently we experienced his loss, which the county is still mourning. When we replaced the senator with someone else who happened to be Senator Koga, I think we should do all we can not to split the responsibilities of the leadership of that position. I think the people expect Koga to perform. When I was a candidate in that election and went across the county, I met so many people who said, we see your platform, we like it, but will you be like Prince Johnson? Will you be a man of determination, a man of dedication, a man who stands by his word, who does not lie to people? I had some voters who asked me that question directly. So the implication here then is that now that the people have decided on Koga, and the vice president himself played a significant role in investing a lot of resources in consolidating the vote around Koga, I think it's time to give Koga a chance in a maximum way so as to prove himself. So the idea of elders coming to Monrovia to suggest to Koga that they should go to the vice president's house, I mean, what message does that send? So who is leading the county? Who is leading the county? When Joseph Boakai goes to Lofa County, what happens there? Is he the president of Lofa County? He's the president of the Republic of Liberia. He should not treat Lofa County any different from how he treats Maryland County when he's there, or from how he treats Cape Mount County when he's there. we're talking about decentralization of power, meaning that the national leaders have to devolve power to these local authorities, give them a chance to succeed, and give them a chance to prove themselves. So that would be my initial comment on that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gompo, and let's welcome to the show this evening, Mr. Robert Sonkale, Madam Lorena Donker, B. Mac Blewon, Chris Silly, and the rest of the panelists on the show. We're going to give courtesy to Mr. Robert Sonkale because he's a new panelist here tonight on the show. So we'll give him the opportunity to at least ask his 2 questions at first before we go with our regular pattern. But Robert, a little bit of introduction will be better for us before you start the ball rolling.
Thank you, Mr. Payne, and thanks for having me. My name is, I'm going to go with Zoyadomir Sonkale. I'm liking that more nowadays, given the fact that I now have a son whose name is Robert. So, so yeah, I'm going to go with my traditional name, Zoyadomir. Thanks, Dr. Gompo, for your splendid intro. I have 2 questions, but I'll just introduce myself formally. I hold a master's in economics from Columbia, and I have an MBA in finance from Coventry. I'm currently residing in the US, so my views here are in no way associated with any organization I'm affiliated with. They are mine and mine solely. I listened to your discussion on inflation, and I would think that by your presentation, it means that we have an imported inflation situation, wherein a small open economy that is a price taker does not necessarily impact any changes that will happen on the global market, except where in the instance they are producing something that they can in turn maximize their benefits that will control whatsoever exchange interventions that will happen. How does that affect policy in our local economy? That's my first question. And then the second one is, on the political front in NIMBA, you lay out responsibilities.
Mr. Robert, I beg you, let him respond to the first one, then you can come back with a second question. I beg you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the issue of an open economy, it means that there can be external shocks. External shocks can affect what happens to our economy. So on the global market, because of some of the uncertainties that the economy of the United States is facing, the dollar has fallen on the global market. See? And so that could be a factor as to why the dollar is falling in Liberia. So external shocks in terms of what is happening abroad, if the inflation rate is increasing or the exchange rate is declining abroad, when your economy is very open, then you have to design policies to respond to external shocks. So that's one of the challenges an open economy has to deal with, and especially for Liberia, which is highly open because of the underdevelopment of our industries in so many different sectors. We depend on the external economy, from energy to finance to the manufacturing, transportation equipment, chemicals. We're making almost none of those things in the country. So we're very vulnerable to external shocks. So that means when monetary policy makers and fiscal policy makers are planning, they need to consider that as they develop their reaction model and to anticipate some of the things that could happen, so that when they happen, they do not take them by surprise. So, but globally, there have been some of the recent reports indicate that the U.S. economy is weakening, and that has given investors a reaction to the dollar in terms of running away from the dollar. And maybe that has impacted the value of the dollar on the global market. And that might be translating to what is happening in Liberia.
Yeah, and I believe we see that in the ways local merchants are rejecting the dollar over the Liberian, the US dollar over the Liberian dollar, because I listened to Payne and he had indicated that people were rejecting the local dollar over the local currency because they feel that the value in the local currency can be stored long term over the US dollar. But you have said that is outlawed, and rightfully so, because we have a dual currency regime. I hope policymakers are also paying attention to that. My second question has to do with what's happening in the politics in Nimba. I know you kind of spoke to that, and you were trying to draw a line between godfathering and central government leadership, wherein there's one central government leader who's trying to, quote unquote, using your words, want to be the godfather, even though he no longer holds that position, since he's not an active member any longer of the current leadership. Do you think that is practical in our current configuration of how political leadership in Nimba is currently being played out?
Well, we have to make it practical. You, the young people, you are the next, generation of leaders. You have to make the demands for what you want. So we have a democracy, and it outlines the distribution of power. And we all have made the commitment that we want decentralization of power, so that power and the direction of leadership and policy making is not all determined in Monrovia. So when we give people the opportunity to serve nationally, all counties, all political subdivisions should be treated equally. We cannot give you a national leadership position, then you, at the same time, do not want to relinquish your leadership within the county. You can't have it both ways. So if you want to stay at the county level, then don't take the national position. If you take the national position, then you should treat Nimba County like you would treat all other counties. So the same thing you can do when you are in Bon County, you don't go there to tell Bon County senators what to do or who should do what. When you go to Mangibi County, it's the same thing. That's the same way you should operate when you are in Nimba County. And if I think we have been saying the same thing, if Prince Johnson have been successful to become vice president or president of the country, you're not going to be any one person who comes from Nimba to be successful to become a national leader has to respect Nimba, has to regard Nimba, and has to know that there are men and women in Nimba who can run the county. They cannot treat Nimba as a second-class county by saying that, because I'm from Nimba and I became president, I became vice president, I will be running Nimba at the same time. We cannot, that cannot be acceptable. We gave so much power to the late senator for so many reasons, to the extent that people created, in addition to being senator, they created an additional position of godfathering or godfathership because of the extra loyalty they had for that senator, and the extra, I don't know what I should call it, love. So the senator could do so many things, even beyond his legal position, because of that history of the war. But the further we go away from the war, I mean, during the last election, the senator had to campaign hard. So now that the senator is gone, we have to turn a new page so that those people that are holding position, those people that get elected to position or even get to replace them, have to be held accountable. And you cannot hold people accountable when you don't give them all of the opportunities to prove themselves. So to lead. So we cannot say, well, the people that we've elected are not ready, and therefore those who were in the position before but have been elevated to national level should continue to run the county, while those people stand by and watch. So I clearly understand where Koga is coming from. I don't think the elders in Nimba should intervene by saying that there is a conflict here where they need to go to take Koga or his supporter to the vice president house to reconcile. I think they should have a straight face to tell the vice president that the senator is concerned, because again, when we look at the leadership structure, legal leadership structure of the county, there are two people at the top in terms of representing Nimba County at the national level. And then you have the members of the House of Representatives. Then you have the executive leadership that is within the county. And he got his chiefs and other people. And so it's a matter of being honest. We cannot run Nimba County by deception anymore, because playing games will undermine our development. It's time to unite, and that unity means that we should be honest with one another. And it was George Owen who said that if liberty means anything, it also includes the right to tell people what they might not want to hear. So we want this country to be developed, we have to be more honest, and then practical. Yes, practicality is something about practice, right? About doing. And if we demand it, if that's what we want to do, we can make it happen.
Thank you. Hey, and hello to my brother Mark Fossing. How are you? Noah.
I'm doing good. Bravo, my man, long time.
I'm here, brother. I allowed to speak you here, right?
Oh, yeah.
You are very okay. Very okay.
Okay.
So,
So,
why was okay? Don't put more one.
At the agro deal, no going.
That's all.
Thank you, Robert, for this question. I will go over to Siawete, and after Siawete, we'll go to Shadrach. Then we'll go to Mr. Mafasi and the rest of the folks. Mana Lorena is finding difficulty with her network this evening. Siawete, let's hear you, then we can give her the opportunity to ask a question.
Yeah, thank you, Junior. I think Lorena is fighting with the internet issue. You could give her the opportunity.
Give her the chance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From
so
there, maybe they can come in.
yeah, okay, no problem, Siawete. Thank you so kindly. Let's hear you, Mana Lorena. Your two questions.
Yeah, I think Shadrach need to have a Starlink. Lorena, can you can hear us? I think she's muted.
Something I already know what is happening. Shadrach, can you make your hand visible for us to see?
Yeah, we can go to Charity Lane and ask this question
Yeah,
while we
somebody
are.
asked a question, but Shadrach, please make your hands visible so we can see. I beg you.
We can hear you. You're muted. Charity, you're muted.
Something you are muted.
Sorry. No, I was saying, I said Lorena is a lone female on the show, and then most times she having internet problem. That's why. Yeah, that I mean, it's an opportunity to be on the show, and I want to say thank you for your appearance. You know, there's your own show, and I follow you during the election and your platform as well. With the current state of the economy, I listened to your brief analysis regarding, the U.S. rate, the central bank, the monetary and the fiscal aspect that has to do with the currency appreciation currently. And for me, in my mind, you were also, looking at the American economy to also trying to like compare to that of Liberia. My question to you is the current state of the economy. How do you see it as an economy? Because right now, one of the key things in our Liberia, and language, you say the bread and butter issue that has to do with prices. Right now, we see the prices of our key commodities that people say political commodities in our context in Liberia was the issue of rice, gasoline, and most of the most of these things when US rate or the prices are getting stable in terms of the US rate depreciation is what cause. So I want to know from your point from your analysis as to how do you appreciate the current monetary and side of our economy right now?
Yeah, I think the Liberian economy is still struggling. The change in the United States, like we said, external shocks, the changes in the United States with the election of President Trump. There have been some changes in the foreign policy stance. The closure of USAID has led to the loss of hundreds of jobs, direct jobs of people who work for USAID, indirect jobs in terms of people who were employed because of those people. Many of those Americans and other people who work for USAID also created jobs for other people in the economy. USAID also supported a number of projects that employed other people as well. So some of the estimates have put it that over 450 jobs have been lost directly due to the change in the U.S. foreign policy stance. Since the government came to power, they've made some progress in infrastructure as it relates to rehabilitation of roads. But when it comes to job creation and new employment, there's no evidence that a number of jobs are growing. A number of people have gotten government jobs, but most of the government jobs are not new jobs. They were jobs that were occupied by other Liberians, and they basically were just replaced by UP and other affiliated people, other affiliated partisans. So on net terms, the government has not created new jobs. So when we begin to measure the economy in terms of economic progress, we don't just want to look at road rehabilitation. We also want to look at the number of net new jobs created, especially in the private sector. So there is no data, but based on interviews that we've had with graduates and people we know, it is very difficult to find people who have recently found good jobs in the private sector. So given that, and also observing what happened in the case of USAID, we can say that the economy is struggling and has been failing to expand in terms of job creation. So overall, I think the economy is struggling because, again, as we said, the cost of living continue to be a problem. The issue of job creation continue to be a problem. The issue of education, look at the University of Liberia, as a symbol of education in the country, which relates directly to the future of the young people. That institution is also failing. So putting those together, I would say that there's a lot of corrections that need to be made. There have been speculation and anticipation that government might recalibrate in terms of looking at new strategies and looking at new and more competent personnel to move into some of the strategic areas so as to begin to turn things around.
Thank you. My first question, I think I would do a follow-up. You talked about the issue of external stock shock in our economy. And from what I see Liberia as the economy that we got, most of our problem now, we look at the issue of commodity price stock and also the trade stock. For example, we talk about the disruption in international trade. For example, like we got the issue of petroleum, and as a country where we are highly challenged, that also most of our challenges in the country has to do with industrialization. And Liberia as a country where we don't fit in those capacities, don't you think our economy or our economy or the monetary side in terms of stable in prices, in terms of price stability and our fiscal arm, don't you think they are doing their best with all of those disruption we have as a country currently?
Well, the monetary side has reduced the inflation rate, right? I think the inflation rate, according to their reports, overall indicate that the inflation rate has come down, but the inflation rate is still high. So the inflation rate on a WIA may have been around 12, 13, and now is about 12. So that's a decrease in the inflation rate, but the inflation rate is still high. I mean, in the United States, what the inflation rate? The inflation rate is around 3 to 4%, and people are still crying, right? The cost of living is rising, right? So the inflation rate they're reporting is the rate at which the price is increasing on a monthly basis. So you reduce it from 13 to 9, that's progress, but the inflation rate is still high because, so prices are rising at 9% per month over month. You see? So basically, it means that there is some progress on the price control side. But even if prices go down, but the rate of increase in price goes down by 3%, but your income is zero, or your income is $150, a month, and you have to pay rent, you have to send kids to school, you have to pay transportation, and what have you. So where are you? Are you happy that prices are going down 3%? See, so on the price side, we see that, and I did talk about some of the improvement in the infrastructure with respect to transportation. But what brings happiness is not just one or two variables. There's so many things that have to happen to collectively create happiness, like stable jobs, like additional employment, in the employment opportunity in the private sector, like the growth in salaries to keep up with rising prices. So even those who even have jobs, they're falling behind, because if your salary is $150 or $200, and prices are rising at 9% per month, that's not an easy place to be. So we need to do a lot better, and not just focus on one variable to say, okay, we rehabilitated the road from Ganta to Harper, and therefore we can go off to celebrate. Or people can travel from Monrovia to Fanjama during the rainy season, and therefore it means that we are successful. No, success is not just one or two variables. Success, Liberian success or success in Nimba County, has to do with a brighter future for the young people. It has to do with more accountability for all these funds that is flowing from ArcelorMittal. Where is that money going? See, these are some of the reasons why we must give the leaders who we have elected the opportunity to step in and take responsibility. Because now you, the young people, need to support a movement for us to begin to audit these people on an annual basis. And if you do not give these elected leaders an opportunity to do their jobs, because someone wants to be godfather or someone wants to put Nimba County in the bag so as to strengthen themselves politically, then we will be at risk. And it will not be fair now to make the elected leaders to answer questions to us with respect to what happened to our money. Because they'll say, well, we were just standing on the sideline watching. Those who have installed themselves as godfather took over the whole show. Therefore, you cannot ask me. And it will not make sense for our senators and representatives to say, oh, go to the vice president. If you got a question about Nimba County, go to the vice president. That's not the vice president's job. Okay? Somebody in Lofa County will not tell his constituents that. Somebody in Mangibi County will not tell his constituents, oh, if you have any question for me regarding the finances and what's happening to your money in Mangibi County, go to the vice president office to go ask the vice president. And likewise, our senators and representatives should not be telling us that. Even though we respect the vice president and we know that he's one of our brothers, and we are happy for him to have been elevated to that position. But there has to be a clear demarcation between serving as a national leader and serving as a leader of the county.
Thank you. Gian, I beg you, I just wanted to send this to the guest so that maybe the next panelist he can add to that. Sorry, it slipped off my mind. You know, after the issue of the USAID, you know, many times we are listening to policy makers on platform and on state, radio and stuff. We are listening to them regarding the aid and investment stock. And for me, sometimes when I sit, I listen to them giving justification of our economy on the issue of remittance, how investors, how expatriate, because those are some of the things too that contribute to remittance in our economy. And we see they say there are pressure on the budget, on the financing in terms of our budget, where maybe other sectors are sponsored and all of that. For me, I just wanted to get your expert opinion as to whether you, in the West, whether you, America or other countries, you being a professor, is there a relying position of a nation to make position on where our economy is facing problem, to rely on that to say, oh, because we lost this aid from this organization, from this angle, whether it could be a justification to citizens as a policy?
Well, no, it cannot be a justification to the citizens. It should not be a justification to the citizens. No other nation has responsibility for managing and advancing your economy. That's why you were elected. That's why we pay you. So you have to go out to get people with the expertise to help you manage the economy. But and when you look in our Constitution, that's why our Constitution frowns on nepotism. The Constitution wants leaders to be comfortable with working with other people, not just their relatives, not just people who have political loyalties to them. There's a section of the Constitution that is very specific in emphasizing that all Liberians should have equal opportunity when it comes to seeking employment and participating in employment, irrespective of political affiliation, regional affiliation, ethnic affiliation, and so forth. So it's very, very clear in our Constitution. If you go to Article 18 in the Constitution, it's very clear on that, about ensuring that all Liberians have equal opportunities, irrespective of political affiliation. One of the things that we've been seeing in Liberia of late is to marginalize the importance of expertise and to overemphasize political affiliation, so that one party is elected, and that party sometimes feel like when it comes to employment, they should prioritize their partisans. And sometimes the expertise that is needed to make the economy perform with excellence may not be found in that party, or may not be found in those people or among those people who are affiliated with the party. So an overemphasis on political affiliation can undermine the economy of the nation. And people who framed the Constitution were aware of that. And that's why they clearly stated it in Article 18 of the Constitution. So the short answer to your question is the loss of support from another country, from UC or whatever, is not a justification to allow your people to suffer. You are put in there, and we pay taxes to you, and we pay you to be prepared to respond, to anticipate these possibilities, these scenarios. Although the way in which the United States did it, it was so abrupt, without any time for transition. The United States just announced it, that look, The ministry announced it that look, we're shutting down USAID, or we're shutting down most of the operation on USAID, and that was it. And that's why we should always be prepared. You know, that's why our policymakers should always be prepared, and we should get, we should emphasize expertise so that those in power can be prepared to think about these things even before they happen, because there are so many different scenarios that you can plan around as you do your planning. So with that, when these external shocks come, you would the impact of the shock would not be as devastating. So I mean that is my response. But again, you need to also be honest to tell your people what has happened. This is what has happened, and these are the solutions that we have put in place to solve these problems, and we're going to solve it very quickly.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gompo. And Lorena, I think you are a little bit okay now with your network, so let's hear your two questions. Nah, I don't think she's not doing good. Let's hear you, Shadrach. Over to you now, Chief. Your two questions.
Thank you, Junior. Good evening to that.
Good evening.
All right. That welcome on our show, and thanks for your appearance. We highly appreciate it, and we hope that this should be your last. It should be your last time. So then I will call upon you to hear from you, so we can provide some clarity as economists. So my first question, will go to this dual currency. I have been one of those who be against the dual currency in Liberia because all the countries I have traveled, yeah, USD can be accepted, but in the bank and authorized bureau. For example, Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda, Sierra Leone, places I have gone. So you serve in the Ministry of Finance as Deputy Minister for Budget, and serving the government a policy maker for the past administration. What do you think? Because my mother are incomplete sales of local products in Liberian dollar. When she wants to buy a cell phone or anything that is imported in the country, she's denied to buy in USD. And now the importer says he purchased USD at a high rate to go buy the goods. At the end of the day, the local people suffer the consequences. I want to know from you as a policymaker, as no economist, you serve in the government and know some of the challenges that we're discussing today. But what do you think we as a country can do as a law? Yes, we can accept USD, but within authorized institutions like the bank and authorized people the other countries are currently doing, so that everybody use the local currency as the only currency to buy things across the country. What can we do as economists? Thank you.
Yeah, the issue of dual currency has always been of concern, and sometimes people wonder whether having this dual currency is one of the sources of our problems. The thing is, you have to realize that the reason we want money is not just to buy and sell things. We also want money for a store of value as a way of holding our wealth. We want money to help us in our transaction when it comes to entering contracts. Having one currency or having dual currency does not guarantee you that your currency is going to be stable. The problem with Liberian dollar is the lack of stability. So even if you were to, it's easy to make a law and say, okay, we'll have only one currency. But how many of you, if we have only one currency and that's the Liberian dollar, would you want to store your family wealth in Liberian dollars today? If you had 1 million Liberian dollars, or if you sold your rubber, and the value of the rubber that you sold was $1 million equivalent US dollar, will you want to take that $1 million and keep it in Liberian dollars? Okay, most of the time, most people will tell you no. Why? Because the Liberian dollar has been unstable. It is unstable. And so if you keep your $1 million in Liberian dollars today, you don't know what that $1 million will be worth. That 1 million LD equivalent, what it will be worth 6 months from now or 9 months from now. Therefore, you want a more stable currency. Look at Sierra Leone, for example. Sierra Leone has only one legal tender. That's the leon.
The Swiss franc is the only legal tender in Switzerland.
Okay, that's the leon. Yet, most of the major transactions that occur, people want to be paid in US dollar. People want to keep their money in US dollar. Why? Because the US dollar is stable. Or they want to keep their money in British pound or the Chinese yuan. So our problem is not so much because we have more than one currency. Our problem is the lack of stability. What brings stability? What brings stability to a currency is the management, is the leadership of the monetary authority. And when you have a situation where politics is playing a major role in determining who manages the money supply, then you got a problem, because it means that those people who are managing your money supply, the priority that is emphasized in their selection is not expertise, is political loyalty, political affiliation. And if the person is selected by political loyalty and political affiliation, that's the same way he will also be appointing other people as well. And so that brings into question the credibility of the central bank. And when that credibility is challenged, I would not want to if I had $1 million or $10 million, I would not want to hold it in Liberian dollars, because people know what has happened to their wealth from where the Liberian dollar was in the 1980s to where it is today. All those who kept their money in Liberian dollars are desperately poor today. You see? So in short, what we want is stability. How do we bring stability? You want stability of your currency, because if the Liberian dollar was stable, it does not matter how many other currencies are around. See, the stable exchange rate is what matters. From the 1970s, to all the way up to 1985, the Liberian dollar and the US dollar were running side by side in the country, and we didn't have any exchange rate problem because the Liberian dollar was stable during those periods. You see, it was stable. But the instability of the dollar now, the Liberian dollar, is what is influencing the stress and what is causing the stress. See, so we have to enforce the law. If there are dealers who, are having problem obeying the law, we should turn them in. And if they are not prosecuted, then we have to hold our leaders accountable. We need to find ways to engage our elected leaders. They are there to provide oversight over the executive. The oversight means they're checking these executives, make sure they're doing their job. But Our relationship with our leaders now is as such that we do not hold them accountable. We do not make them to do their jobs. And so they sit in those positions and they're just thinking about how they can raise personal money for the next election. I mean, it's not all of them, but a lot of them. So I don't know whether, whether my answer was clear.
Yeah, Gino, I beg, let me do a follow before I ask my last question, because something that I asked a question based on a particular, how they call it, principles. Well, that is giving the answer. I'm not economist, but I've not heard of what actually I was asking a question for. Now, when the government giving price stability in the country, they give the price per USD value, but then the US rate in the country is not stable. If you go to Ghana, you may change money for 180. If you come to Morocco, you may change money for 200. Now, when this man who bringing the goods feels that he exchange rate is 200, he will definitely send the goods to Ghana a high cost, including transportation. If we have one local currency, government have
like me.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, me not having issues.
Yeah. Quiet, Shara. Yeah, because someone told me what I asking for. So the government no giving prices, it should be given in the one currency which is $11 that is no nationwide recognized. I believe that when we got one law, one legal tender for our country, if everybody saves that money in $11, whether you reach or poor, you take your money. It's not about maybe I have two currency, if I keep my money $11, it's not teaching money again to say I think for you $11 to go to USD dollar. So my question is, what can we do to stabilize the dual currency? Okay, USD can be in the bank. Like I enter Nigeria to even buy food, you have to go to the bank and get money. You stay in the hotel, but they can't accept the USD from you. Similar thing can happen in Liberia. So how can we do this as a policy maker for economy? That's my question.
Yeah, so basically in simple sense, what I said was that the stability of the currency depends on the credibility of the monetary authority. The credibility of the monetary authority depends on the leadership emphasizing and prioritizing expertise instead of politics in those appointments and in those selection processes. At this point, most of the appointments in Liberia are highly political, highly politicized, less on expertise. So at this point, even if you pass a law, you can pass a law to say there will be only one currency. You're not going to be happy with it, because with only that one currency, when the central bank decide to print more money and the money is worth nothing, you will not want to be paid in Liberian dollars. It happened before in Zimbabwe. They had only one currency, and nobody wanted to do any business in it. They got only one currency in Sierra Leone. They're not happy with it. They rather come to Liberia with dual currency than to do business in their own currency. In Sierra Leone, there's only one currency they use legally. You cannot use US dollar in the market. And I'm telling you, they got only one currency there. But if you want to buy my house, and I'm telling you that I'm not going to accept Leon, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it openly, but you understand the code. If you really want to buy this house, you got to come to my house at night and bring, stable currency, not Leon that will tomorrow, day after tomorrow, the Leon now will be worth 13,000, 15,000, US dollar. The exchange rate is still there, even if you're not using the dollar. If you want to travel out of the country, if you want to go to Nigeria, you're not going to easily carry, if the currency is not stable, if you bring US dollar, you bring Liberian dollar to the United States, it's worth zero. You carry Liberian dollars to South Africa, it's worth zero, right? Nobody's going to take Liberian dollars from you in South Africa. You see? So because of that, if you are in Liberia, you're selling your land. You're selling your land because you want to move to South Africa. You're selling your land because you want to send your child to tuition in India. Okay? You want to pay, you want to buy an airline ticket and so forth and things like that. If the currency is unstable, so the instability of the currency is not because of the law to say, okay, because we don't have one currency. See? So the instability will still be a problem if you don't solve the credibility problem. If you don't make certain positions to be less political and more and recognize that some positions, a lot of positions, you should emphasize expertise first before you can even go to politics. You don't do that, the country will continue to suffer. That's what I'm basically saying.
All right. Thank you, Doc. Thank you so much. My last question had to do with academic issue in our country. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Thank you. So, in our various universities, people refer to instructors or people teaching professor. And I had an experience when I traveled to Sweden. So, one evening, I met my professor. He was actually an assistant professor, like you, not a full professor. So mistakenly, I referred to him as a professor. Then he replied me, kind of corrects my title as assistant professor instead of professor. I am not reached or being qualified to be called professor because I see the practicing to be the full professor. I have series of books about to be accepted before I can be called professor. Now, coming back to our country, even though the professor title is based on country and also institutional article, geographical location, but you as an academia, pure academia from our society, we have many people in our society refer to a professor, and some of them do have even article published to be read by students or be even accepted in our curriculum, but then they are referred to a professor. How can you as academia address the issue to the public, as we on the platform? Thank you.
Yeah, the thing is, these professorship, assistant professor, associate professor, full professor, these are ranks, but they're all professors. They're all professors. So professorship has to do with teaching, at a certain level, right? And then the different ranks depends on the institution and the rules that they have with respect to how people move from one rank to another rank. But in general, there is no real difference between professors, instructors. The differences are very marginal. Okay, they're very marginal. I mean, some institutions would say you cannot be a professor until you have your PhD. And so while you're still working towards your PhD, you only have master's, you only be instructor. And some can have masters, and some people got masters and they can still be professors. So I think what you may be getting at is the issue of the quality of education in the country, in our country. I think that's the significant thing. Because again, education is related to development. Education is related to quality of leadership. We are giving degrees. Some institutions in our country now are even giving doctoral degrees. And yet, our economy continues to suffer. And yet, job creation is still a problem. And yet, the main employer in the country continues to be government. And to me, the challenges in our economy is also a function and a reflection of the poor quality of education that we have in our system. See, so there is a need to really improve the quality of education in the country. When education improves, the economy also improves, because through the educational process that we create what we call human capital, the people who actually are the managers that go out to run the economy. It's through the educational institution that we invest in the future with respect to the training and the preparedness of you, the young people. So when the educational quality is bad, the economy is going to be bad, because we're producing people, we're giving these degrees, but the degrees do not give people the skills and the expertise to perform consistent with those degrees. Look around the world. Look at the best performing economies around the world. The countries with the best quality of education are generally the countries that are also producing the most number of good jobs for their people. See, so the quality of education is connected to the quality of the economy and the quality of life of the people. But I think these, the positions in terms of the ranking, it varies from institution to institutions. Even at my own institution, the whole process is complicated. How do people become full professor at my institution? After you work in the institution, you have to submit applications, and the number of applicants, the number of people who apply for the higher rank are taken into consideration, the number of available higher ranks. Okay, so sometimes the institution will say that this year we only have opening for 5 full professors. Then across the whole university, they will tell all the assistant professors who want to be full professor to apply and bring all their credentials, all their publications. Across the university, sometimes 30 assistant professors will apply. Then the university will set up a committee. That committee will go and sit in the room and look at all the applications and say, oh, we got only 5 vacancies. We got only 5 vacancies and 30 people apply. So now we got to go through all the people are qualified. They're all PhD, they're all professors here. But this thing will give them, if we put them to the higher rank, it will give them more money, right? So their salary will increase maybe from 100,000, 110,000, maybe to 120,000. So now it becomes a matter of, okay, that committee now will decide. It becomes like a political thing. The people got to vote. So that committee has to vote to rank the 30 people that have applied now. They will start ranking the people, and then they will take the highest 5 people from that 30 to become full professors. Then the next year, you're going to do the same thing. And the application process might take like 10, 15 hours or more to put that whole paperwork together. 30 people apply, only 5 people are accepted. Next year, you're going to do the same thing. The same 30, other 30 people didn't get it, but apply again. And that whole process goes on. So if you look at it, you can see that the differences between these people, the job is the same. It's not going to change the number of classes or the kind of classes the people are teaching at all. You see? So I would say that the differences, for me, I think the differences are really marginal. In terms of like by marginal, I mean small differences. Mainly in the form of the money, mainly in the form of the money they make.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it can be different, maybe by 10,000, 15,000, something like that. So sometimes we have to decide if the 15,000 worth it to go through that process every year. And some people can decide, not to apply.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dad. Those of you just joining us via Facebook and YouTube, listening to the Heat Hour here on BKS TV. And in today's edition of the show, we are hosting Dr. George P. Gompu, former senatorial candidate of Nima County, contested in the just ended senatorial by-election in Nima County. He's also an assistant professor of economics at Ramapo University?
Ramapo College of New Jersey.
Okay, Ramapo College of New Jersey. So now we will go over to Mike. Are you sleeping?
So how long do you intend for the show to continue? Because I have some other engagements.
In the next 10 minutes, we'll be done with you. In the next 10 minutes.
So maybe you should ask him how much time you can.
Yeah, you need to ask him. We need it down the show.
Yeah, I think going up to 6, it will be fine.
6,
which will be what, 13 more minutes or so.
Okay,
I can do that.
Problem.
So just carry us to turn it on.
So I think let's go to Mana Lorena. If you have your question, Mana Lorena, please let's go straight to the point because we got only 12 minutes on the show. After you can go to
So can we do that one question now, since the doc have only a few minutes here instead of 2 questions?
Yeah, Lorena left already. So let's go to Mark. Then Mr. Matheson will take us home. Mark, are you there? Welcome to the show, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, we want to say a very big thank you to all of you who have been here while we are away. We are breaking ground for several development agendas. And when the other was out, I love you.
They reduce your storage unit from 36 cents to 2 cents. You're crying, sitting attacking you.
CMC man, I detractor
you will just be wasting your time. It got no effect on my political leader. We were prepared for that. And we are already prepared for that.
We discussed that one with the dad leaves. Let's hear your one question.
Like the dad was just saying, the issue of political attack have been the reason for which our development has getting squandered into this country. And those things, we need to work on that because your personal gain cannot override the better good of our people. But again, I want to say a very big thank you to all of you. While we were away and you were here working, we want to say a very big thank you. We're also working on your behalf to ensure that our next generation be able to attain the education and good that it deserves. I want to say thank you for coming and you are welcome.
Thank you.
You didn't attend a debate, but we were there, and I think it would be you and I our first time to interface. But however, one of these days we will meet. Mike Bloom is my name from Lopley Boyenkula Administrative District and a resident of Gandos City, Nima County, and the panelists on this show. I just got one question. I just got one question to ask moving forward. As an economist, you discuss something concerning the inflation rate in Liberia. Let's take the case of Liberia and forget about the nationwide. The worldwide. Let's take the case of Liberia. The inflation we are having in this country today, is it based on the dual currency or foreign currency, or specifically the insincerity of our? I assume that the finance minister will work along with a team of officers and it will bring down the price of US. And like now you carry $20 on the market now, it will give you 3,400, which is 170 rate. Some area they will give you 3,200, which is 160 rate. Where there's no specific rate now as we speak in Liberia. But then the cassava part that is coming from within, from the common people on the farm, it used to be $25 per pack. Now they carry to 100. But US is coming down and the cassava price is not coming down. And again, with the natural palm that we are still harvesting from Brazil, Siapley, and other places, they still selling the gallon of oil for 900. So are we considering only the US rate to be the one to stimulate our economic, or our being insincere to ourselves?
Yeah, well, clearly it's not the U.S. rate alone. There are a lot of issues in the country. And incompetence, corruption, crime, even all of these issues regarding the drug problem and the failure to tackle the drug problem, which the government promised. And when people see government failing to produce based on what they promise, it creates uncertainty. And uncertainty creates the motivation to try to make as much money now because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And all of those kinds of things can also influence the prices people charge. So as we said before, when it comes to the price of an item whose growth we refer to as inflation, the price is not determined by one variable alone. It's not determined by the exchange rate alone. It can be determined by so many other factors. As we said, the issue of insecurity, because drug dealers, are getting a field day, and we put our confidence in the new government. They were going to solve the drug problem. And now we see the whole thing in a vicious cycle. Okay, that kind of disappointment. The government are going to create so many jobs. The government are going to review all these concession agreements to make sure that Liberian workers are treated fairly, that the working condition is good, that they will get good pay. Those things are not being done. And then the appointments. How are the appointments being done? Is it competitive? Is it fair? When they appoint these people, how many of them can even the opposition look at, or ordinary people look and say, yes, this person deserves this position? Most of the people are being appointed because of political affiliation. You see, those kinds of things create uncertainty, and it undermines government credibility. And when credibility is undermined, then people want to make their money as quickly as possible because they don't know what might happen. And so if you're selling something, you might want to charge as much as possible so that if you can. See, and also the population is growing. As the population grows, we got one of the highest growing population in the world. So many young people are having babies. When you go to the universities and the colleges, I think you're affiliated with Nimba University. Do a simple, your own sample. Go and take 20 students, randomly take 20 students on a campus and find out how many of them are already fathers and mothers. I think you will find out that more than 80% will already be fathers and mothers. So if you are 18-year-old, and you already have 2 children, Then by the time you hit 40, you already, if your child have another child who are 18 or 19, by the time you hit 40, you already be a grandparent. You see? So on the demand side, the population is also rising very fast because we're having so many children very early. So we got a rapidly growing population. And one of the ways in which we can manage our population growth is also to invest in education. Because what you will see is that the more educated the women are, the less children they tend to have. Not that they love children, but now when you become more educated, then you focus now on quality rather than quantity. So the typical woman who is a college graduate, it will be very difficult for you to see her having 10 children or 7 children, because she got to deal with her career and she got to manage all that in. You see, so we got a rapidly growing population. You got an incompetent workforce. You got a lot of politics when it comes to making these strategic appointments. And so all of these things are affecting productivity. See, so in short, I'm basically saying, yes, the exchange rate play a role, but there are so many other variables that tend to influence the rate at which prices are growing or prices are rising, and therefore affecting the cost of living.
Thank you. Mr. Matheson, I don't know if we can skip you for today because it's almost 6 from Dr. George, or we can give you the opportunity to ask your question and Dr. George will just answer it briefly before we go.
So Dr. George,
No, that is carrying us to 20 minutes. How many minutes we're gonna?
The gavel is in your hand, so you decide. For me, I want to ask questions.
All right.
If you say we should roll over, that's fine.
Yeah, actually, one question. I think that will bear with us, and he will answer it briefly. Then we can ask him for his party comment before we go for our post.
But the good thing, Doc said he has 20 minutes, so I don't know why you want to cut it to 0 to 5. All right. Quickly to the point.
Yeah, we can go for 20 minutes. That's fine. I said it's fine with me. We can go for 20 or 25 more minutes.
Thank you.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So I will look at the issue of allotment in our budget, local allotment. The national government made allotment to counties based on their status of existence as a county, and they tend to negate the issue of population. And as an economist, I want to, hear your take on that, whether it's important to just make budgetary allotment that takes care of development and other essential functions of a community, a county, so to speak, and just look at Nima and Bapolu, for an example, and give them the same budget. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think that is unfortunate, and I don't think it's fair to the big counties, so that when you allocating funds for county development, you just allocate it on the basis of county. I think, and again, it comes to leadership as well. We should hold our leaders accountable and tell them what we want, because if we call them representatives and senators, their power comes from us. We have to engage them and tell them, look, let's hear your agenda. You go into the legislature. What is the agenda you carry into the legislature? When we hear it, we hear the agenda, review it, and then we can add to it. So I think that I think I agree with you. The allocations are for serving people. They're not just for serving the named county. So you need to take into consideration how many people exist in our political subdivision. So I think one way to approach it would be to begin to consider it in terms of districts. Because if you look at it in terms of districts, then you will begin to say that, okay, Nimba has 9 districts.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have 9 districts, and then River G maybe had 2 districts, and River says maybe have 2 districts, or I don't know how many districts they have. But you see that the smaller county, even though they are counties, they're equally counties, but they have smaller number of districts. So our leaders who are in those positions can begin to frame the discussion and the proposal around districts to say, okay, let's allocate maybe 100,000 per district. If we say allocating 100,000 per district, or even 50,000 per district, then you got only 2 districts. Then your development funds will be, if it's 100,000 per district, it will be 200,000. If you got 9 districts, it will be 9 times the 100,000. So that way you will be able to reflect the different population density in the different counties. You look at the United States, the country is divided into states. So just as we have counties, they have states, right? But the state of California has more people, maybe 10, 15 times more people than the state of South Dakota or the state of North Dakota. So because of that, even the compensation package for the governor of the state of California is 5 times more than the compensation package for the governor of the state of South Dakota.
South Dakota,
yeah. So the governor of the state of California, some of the benefits he has include even, a jet plane. He got a plane. He can fly around the state. Few governors in the country got that kind of benefit. You see? So I mean, that's the situation. But again, because our structure is the U.S. structure is a federal structure and the Liberian structure is a unitary structure. The compensation is determined at the state level, but they take the amount of work they have to do into consideration. So Nimba County, the superintendent, if you pay Nimba County superintendent the same to manage almost 500,000 people or to lead 500,000 people, and with the geographic area of Nimba County, you gave the superintendent of Nimba County only 1 car. You gave the superintendent of River G County 1 car. Okay, so by the time the superintendent of Nimba County moves around Nimba 4 or 5 times, I mean, that car will have depreciated. Whereas the superintendent of River G County will still have a new car. You see? So the amount of resources that is exhausted to lead Nimba County effectively because of its size is a lot more than it is for the smaller county. So you want our county to be successful, we need to take that into consideration. But we have to go to the flow of the Senate. We have to go to the flow of the House of Representatives. We have to go to the president. We have to go to whoever to present the proposal and make the argument, and then also work with other colleagues from different counties to support our ideas. Yes, and so in Nimba County, fortunately, we have funds coming from the company ArcelorMittal that helps with our development. And so again, that's another place where the county leadership has to be watched in terms of how they're spending these funds, because some of the reports that I've been getting is that the county leadership has also been spending some of our social development funds on national projects. And that is, in my view, an error. That's an error, because the social development funds are supposed to be for the county. When the national government wants to do a project in the county, just as it will pay for it in other counties, it should pay for these national projects within Nimba County. You see? And this issue will be related to some of the issue regarding the current discussion regarding who is in control of Nimba County. Because if the national leader, somebody who is in the national position, is directing Nimba County policies, then of course it will be right. It will be very easy for some of our local resources to be used for national projects, when in fact the national has its own budgetary allocation for those things. So then it will put Nimba County at a disadvantage.
Well,
Thank you.
you touched an important point, but you have to go. So
Yeah,
I will turn it over to the.
Thank you, Mr. Matheson. Thank you so much. But before we take leave of you, Doctor, what's your current political affiliation in Liberia? Which other political party are you affiliating with currently? And do you care to tell us about the next future from here for Dr. Gompo, his political career?
Well,
so that before you go to politics, that like what you were just talking about, were introduced by the former speaker and foreign senator of Bomi County, J. Ellis Taylor, that they consider that one to be like the EMR project. They first started with 50,000 in the Kingdom 68, and currently, as we speak, is 100,000. But then, with lists being attached to monitor the usage of the money, effectively, we are not seeing it working. Because, like, you went to District 6 now, which is my own birthplace. Our lawmaker said he used the 100,000 to build 2 police stations with an area attached to the blood data clinic. And others are telling all the big mini breaches with 100,000. So to consolidate that, we'll already be receiving 900,000. The 150 that goes to the 2 senators to attach into that, making it a little over 1,200,000. Apart from the one that coming from the national funding to the county superintendent or the county's cover. It's just what you said is sincerity and the corruption in the process. Because they will go and select a project to be done, and the last guy will work in line with them, and what they are doing will not best suit the money that has been given to them. So that was established already, and it is working. But a certain fiscal year, it can work, and a certain fiscal year, it will also work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that again, we have to be clear on who's providing oversight and who's doing enforcement and who's doing implementation. Those who providing oversight, the people in the legislature, they are supposed to be the people who are supposed to be telling the executive to come and make report. I don't think they should be involved in the project so deeply to the point where some of them even want to bring the contractors and then almost like impose the contractors on the county executive to say, I'm bringing the other person for this project. See, and most of the time they do that in order to get kickback. We know why they do that. And some of them even they can even go and form companies, you see, to come in the county to take contract. But then they are the people who are supposed to be receiving the report from the executive in terms of what was done with the money. So if you were the person who's supposed to be receiving the report You are the person who will be auditing these people to make sure that the spending is consistent with the agreement and the plan. Now, if you got a company too that is participating in the enforcement and implementation, you can see there will be major conflict of interest there. They will not be able to do their jobs effectively. It will be very difficult to audit that kind of process because, again, auditing the legislature has been one of the big problems, right? So there should be some clear demarcation as to who is in charge of what. See, so that in Liberia, for example, and that's one of the areas that we need to work on. The Constitution, or there are some laws of Liberia. I don't know whether it's the Constitution or it's in the statute that says that presidents cannot be prosecuted for. President cannot be prosecuted for actions taken while in office. And I think that there's a need to revisit that law, because if you have a corrupt president who engages in theft, then we cannot let that person to just go free because you are president. Because if we continue to have a law like that, it means that we're not going to win the war on corruption in the country. Because if a minister steals and we say, okay, the law says we cannot prosecute previous president. And then the minister say, well, the money I took it and use it at the instruction of the president. And the president can say, yeah, after the minister will take the money. Then what are you going to do? So you undermine the legal process already. So I think, especially you, the young people, we all need to collaborate in looking at some of our laws with respect to accountability. And that particular law, I think, is an area that needs to really, really be seriously revisited.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Dr. George Gompo.
You didn't re-echo your question, or?
Yeah. But I wanted to do before you take leave of us, just do this with your parting comment and everything. Tell us about the way forward from here for Dr. George Gompo political career in Liberia, and also which political party you are affiliating with currently.
Yes, I have a political party, the ADML, new political party. It came into existence in 2022. I also have relationship with LPP. So this ADML is the African Democratic Movement of Liberia. Is registered as a political party and has been fielding candidates. At this point, I have not decided what I, as a person, will do in the 2029 race. We are still evaluating the various options, but my main interest is really making the country a better country, in really laying a good foundation for the future of the country, and that is working with young people, because you, the young people, are the future. And if we don't invest in your education, in your preparedness, in your power, then that's the kind of leadership we will receive in the future when we retire. So that concerns me more seriously. So I'm still evaluating what role and how to position myself for the upcoming political climate or political activities that we'll all be preparing for in 2029. But meanwhile, I'm focused on the economy, trying to study it And even this week, we have a forum coming up in the state of New Jersey where we're bringing Liberians together to brainstorm on how Liberians in the diaspora can contribute to development, investment in Liberia through remittances. Remittances to Liberia is one of the major areas through which funds come into Liberia. People have sent money at the personal level, paying tuition, paying hospital bill, paying for weddings, paying for so many things, building houses and doing so many other things. And I also observed that the foreign business community is still highly powerful in our country. So my view is, how can Liberians in the diaspora reposition themselves to take more powerful and more impactful role in the economy? So now most of the money we're sending is for donations to our relatives and families and what have you. Can we find ways so that Liberians in the diaspora who have the income can save more of that income in order to invest in Liberia? So we're having a forum coming up on the next Saturday, and we're hoping that if that forum is successful and we find a lot of interest in it, we'll move that forum across the various states and across countries in the diaspora to encourage Liberians to express their patriotism through investing in their own country, and in the process contribute to making Liberia much more transparent and making the leadership in the country more accountable. So I don't know where you are, but I think that the people in the diaspora, as well as people in the country, the ordinary people in the country, have to find a way to work together rather than having elections and waiting for the president to do his job, for the vice president to do his job to build the economy, and those things are really not happening. So I'm concerned about those types of things.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here tonight. In 2 minutes, give us your parting comment.
I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here. I think this is great, especially coming out of Nimba County. This is something we've been hoping for and praying for a long time. So I think this is a good service for our county. And I want to encourage you to continue. And I want to find out more about it, how the platform is being supported. And I want to be more engaged. I want to participate more. So thank you for the invitation. And I hope that the discussions today will contribute to the progress and the advancement of our county. And I hope that we in the county, as we make this transition, the post PYJ years will have better leadership to build on the foundation that have been laid, so that we're doing better 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, with more effective, accountable, transparent leadership for our county. Because I believe that if we have effective leadership that is patriotic, Nimba County will always be #1. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Doc.
Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. So, folks, those of you who were listening to us via Radio Land, that was the voice of Dr. George Gompu, former senatorial candidate. They just ended by senatorial election in Nimba County, where he, alongside Mark Bleon, were defeated by Senator Samuel Koga. We were
I'm
discussing
looking for you.
business, we're discussing economic, we're discussing leadership, we're discussing politics here tonight on the show. And it was really, really a wonderful one. As always on the show, after we're done with our interview, we go for analysis of the show and then we take recommendation and all of that. So we'll start with Zoya Domia, Robert Sonkali. And conclusion.
Robert Bibi giving Hata.
Yeah, sorry about that. This guy is trying to distract me.
Apa kau nak bosan enggak? Kau nak apa pun? Dulu sudah dikit kan private.
Dikit you know about that gone.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I mean, I think it was inspiring. Honestly, I think he has just give me 1 minute. 1 minute.
You see, Mava thinking, you see Mava laughing, he knows. Mava thinking.
That was why I went leave the show.
That's why I always in my office. I come and lock it. When I'm done, then we go play.
Yeah, I like the dude, guys.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear you now, Chief.
Yeah, I think Dr. Gompu made a clear case for how policymakers should really rethink the economy, especially in terms of inflation. And he's also clear about how current NIMA leadership should look like. I mean, it's that was why I was asking if his ideas were practical. I mean, we got to be realistic here, right? In the past, we didn't have a vice president who had become who was senator before. Now, and the vice president was not just a regular senator. He had positioned himself before becoming vice president to be the heir to the late Senator Prince Johnson. We cannot dispute that, right? The way everything had been going was pointing toward that direction. Fortunately for Nima County, he became vice president. Are we suggesting now that he should just remove himself completely from the activities in Nimba and allow the current senators to lead? I mean, this is arguable, right? But I still believe that he has a role to play. I still believe that he has not just a regular role, but an active role to play. Mind you, if things are trending positively for him, he could be a potential candidate for 2029. Do we want a Nimba candidate that is removed from Nimba County only because he's now in central government leadership? So that was why I was asking about the practicality of his being not involved. I mean, we could agree to disagree that some people would say, okay, he can play a backstage role, right? He could be that advisor. But how many people truly would want to see Vice President Kun be the passive person in Nimba? You know, I mean, we gotta be true to ourselves. So I just think this is something that everybody should come together to reason that while it is true, Vice President Kun is now supposedly a person who just steps back and provides guidance. But in my view, I don't think given everything that is happening, that should be a position he should take. You know, that is why I ask about the practicality. We can disagree, but there are some level to which we can see where this is going.
So what would be your suggestion, Rob? If you hold everything constant,
I mean,
looking at Koga's position, looking at Jan Twain's position, looking at the Kaka's position, what would be your recommendation? Because those guys have to also fit in to the decision-making body.
so this is where I was saying they should all reason. It is not something whereby we want to bring critical thinking into a situation that should really be one that has to do with who really is managing and who really is posturing. So two things, right? Posturing, meaning I want to be leader, right? I should be leader, as opposed to let's manage, right? Let's together come as a team and manage. All we are fighting for is the success of NIMBA, right? That is how I see it. How can we together manage the affairs of NIMBA, regardless of whether I'm vice president now, I used to be senator before, or I am senator now, I should be given full responsibility to lead. You know, I think it's a coordinating place they should find themselves. There's a unique situation we haven't found ourselves in before.
Right, exactly.
Right? This is special. And I believe it presents an opportunity for all of us to see how we can, you know, embrace this unique situation and advance the interest of NIMBA to the extent that God knows one day we could just find ourselves clinching the gold medal. So I think this is something everybody should coordinate to manage.
Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you very much for being here.
Before I go,
why wrong with this, Songali? You said Nima man.
So Robert is one of our panelists. He's one of the few brothers that I reached out to when we first started this whole platform. I know he has been a little busy, but he's someone with wealth of knowledge, massive experience, and I think he's going to be very, very important to our show. So Robert, I want to say thank you so much for taking up your time and officially joining our show. Imagine mixing Robert and the current team that we got up with Wilfred Bangura, and then in the future, Leka Klipo and all those stuff. So we are forming a really good team here for our county and Liberia Alliance. So welcome to the show officially. No, I think
I want a tabula rasa to can't destroy. Yeah, but it's always going to be a pleasure, man. I'm happy to be here. I know you've invited me a couple of times, but during the week, my schedule can really be tricky. I gotta be, juggling between parenting and at the same time work, so it can really be tricky. But I'm really happy to be here, and I've followed the show religiously, and that's how I really appreciate what's been happening here.
Thank you. So yeah, Domia, thank you for being here tonight. That's great. Mark Bloom, it's been a long time you've been away. Let's hear your analysis and then your pattern comment. What been happening recently, Chief?
Thank you. It's not an easy task.
And what you doing, Lorena? Internet tonight?
That's why it's good for NIMBA to have people like us that live to where we got a good internet than picking people that live around Solingwen, Nikuta, and other places. So if NIMBA could not have people like us, NIMBA would be done. So it's good that we are here. I just want to say a very big thank you to all of you for keeping our show. DK and myself been working behind the scene, talking to those who have been panelists. Every time when the people come on the show, when he does not see me, he will always call me. But when school closes, as they have been done, we too had to go. We can make commitment to the school and putting children on the financial aid. So we have to also hustle quickly and make sure that before the children grade sheet can be given, we settle our obligation. So we ought to have to go and turn around. So whenever you're not seeing me and me, school are closed and we're moving around to meet up with some of our financial obligations to be able to restart. This time when the people close the school, I get 1 month, the following month, the school resume. But I want to actually appreciate all of you for the job well done. Like Sangare was saying, there are two things that we needed to look at. If you omit the vice president from the political arena of NIMBA and not making some impact into the political scene of NIMBA, absolutely, like he said, they are running for the Golden Cup. You will not be able to get that Golden Trophy. Because when you stay away from that, who knows, those who are entrusting may be their own army. Equally so. We should also have great respect for the two senators. Mm-hmm. Look, you cannot make the two senators as a member of the caucus. You have to be mere members of the caucus. I think the caucus need to rethink and redivert the leadership role that they are taxed each other with. If we want to say man who is from District 8 to maintain the caucus position, the co-chair position should be also given to one of the senators. And then one come in from the angle of the representative position to serve as the Secretary General. And then another senators come in to also play the advisory role. By that, you give them the edge that they can sit on the table tomorrow to discuss issues concerning NIMBA. But when that is not done, they are just members. In case they say, we just want the leadership of the caucus to come. We want to meet the leadership of the caucus. And then going to meet the leadership of the caucus, one senator is not being represented. I think it's a bad play. We need to change our ball game and let the caucus come together and see reason that the senators be included into the leadership. The last one got to be with the issue of the economic system. Look, John, we are not sincere to ourselves. Why you hear me from people is what happening now. I think you were the one elaborating on that. People are not willing to allow people to buy their goods nowadays in US, in Liberia. If they were selling certain things for $4,000, but they are going on a large scale, an average rate at $20. Now, because they want to attain the price on a stable rate to attain that $4,000. When you carry $20 to them, they will say no, they want $4,000, they don't want $20. Then in another development will tell you, we can hold $20 from you, but you will add $600 to it. It means the 176 is 3,400, and they want you to add 600 to the 3,400 to give the equilibrium price that they want to be able to reach our goal. Now the thing goes like I was just asking him, we all are in the economic sector and making sure that some of those things when it comes to the household, how people should deal with those things so that our people can understand it better. You still go on the market and buy gasoline now for $700, $680. But then you maintain the previous transportation, the cost. You're taking someone from ERW Junction to carry them to Waterside for $250. And when you get to a gas station, you buy maybe $670, $630. And maybe whole day you can run your traffic with 2-3 gallons. But then you will make more than 10 trips before the day goes to an end. But you just bought 4 gallons at a rate of $680, and you are told more than 50 persons in your car a day and stay charging them $250. You are exploiting us as people and also looking at your contributing factor when it comes to the hardship. Now, the person in the market needs to bring a pound of cassava and sell it for $100 so that he sell the 30 pound there to be able to buy for 1 kg, 125 kg rest. But now the rest are come down to 1,650, 1,007. 2,650, 2,007. But then you still bringing the cassava on the market, selling the cassava for 100 instead of bringing it down to either 75 or $80 for part. You're not doing that. So we are harming ourselves in the country more than us crying in the government need. So you cannot be selling a pack of soap for because you just sell it $1 for $200. Then I bring the $1 and then you say, no, I'll tell you that to A. I'll tell you that to the $1 before I get you the soap. I think we ourselves need to be sincere. If the government is fighting for us so that we can have a stable economy, we ourselves should be able to enhance government endeavor. But when that is not done, I think it shows that we are all ungrateful to ourselves, the insincerity, and making ourselves not to be happy. So I just want to say a big thank you. Let all of us talk to our people and spread the messages around that as prices decreasing on the world market or on the Liberian market, we that are producing the local commodity too should be able to help enhance government effort. But when that is not done, it also has an effect on us, and it will show to you that even here in Liberia, children are not going to school. From schools, I have a total number of 300 to 400 students. Now you go and look at the registrar list. People are not even registered up to 100 because of the hardship in the country. Now what the instructors doing now is they want to keep the school fees at the same level and selling the nectar at $10 to our students for $2,000, and also selling the uniform at the price of $40 at $8,000, and then carrying the tuition with all of the bureaucracies that they put around it to increase the tuition. They encourage you to put a child in school, then they come and be here or look for the money later and send it, and they are not doing any reduction.
Thank you,
So we all need
Honorable.
to work on the things so that we can have a stable economy.
You know, man missed the show, so you let man flow. He will flow all night and then nothing for you.
My man, the first thing I will tell you should be telling me thank you for breaking ground, and we starting your work effective next week from Boss Place straight to Bidegbe and going from Siaple again to Fiaple.
Movement, you break all the ground, will not even find a place to stand.
Why you will look place to stand when we're trying to make the traveling not to have an impediment with our people?
Well, it's just breaking ground.
Thank you, Mark. I hope that you will be here again tomorrow because
I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay, great. Mr. Matheson, let's hear you after you go to the CEO, then see everything.
And before Matheson can come in, Junior, please talk to Matheson to also come down and be making impact. Because Bede is no longer in the district, and other people are making impact. He's still sitting there to come 2020 now. We will not accept it 2020 now. You both should not say, why you are powerless here, and one of our members are come to at least upgrade our status to become representative, and you're not supporting the man.
I don't want to talk for the man will come.
It's part of our bylaws. And then want to leave and they
I'm talking for you, Matheson. Relax. The man Matheson coming very soon.
Man, you always let us get put properly. You know,
if we come in there, let me come. For me, I don't have anything to say. I just want to announce that tomorrow we'll be hosting Victor Busset.
Yeah. I'll be the negotiation.
And then Tuesday we'll have Bob Cato. So you guys, I don't know what his portfolio is, but we'll be hosting on Monday. So it's going to be a great one on Monday. So hopefully
he's a deputy national director for forestry.
There you go. All right, cool. I know he'll be my inland brother, but we'll be hosting tomorrow. So that's all.
You're still getting inland.
Okay, thank you. You know, as always, Mike is one of the brothers that I have a lot of respect for because of his friendly attitude. You always stick to everybody and work with everybody, and I think that's fine. For a young person, I see that as your pathway to growth. Then the second thing I want to say, welcome to my brother, Robert Sankale. Robert is one of the best we have in our country. I've worked with him when he was seeking the leadership of the senior class. At the time, we were at the University of Liberia. From there till today, we've been, together. I consider him your brother. And interestingly, my big brother wife comes from Mali, where he hails from, and so some way he's my in-law. So, Robert, thank you. Really look forward to.
Yeah, now that boy.
You can simply about you.
Mali does not actually have a citizen that are from there. All of those guys went to settle there because of farmland.
Yeah, and I know play get people. you just put on it. But to the interaction, I think it was quite a great show. Very informative and very educative. Doc is one of the brains that Liberia has, and people of his kind have always wished that, irrespective of the situation we have in Liberia, people like Dr. Gompu, people like Ravo Sankale, I've always wished that they be home and contributing. No matter what they will contribute in the Western world, the ripple effect on the growth of Liberia is marginal compared to their physical presence, in the country. Whatever sectors that it touch in a meager way, it will have a positive ripple effect on the growth of the country. So it was not quite a strange thing to see him look at issues, streamline issues, the way he did across the sector of the economy. Is something that I anticipated, and he lived up to my anticipation. But one of the things that Robert touched, which Doc highlighted in his discussion, that has to do with the vice president position, is something quite unique, and it's something that must be looked at from a real, realistic standpoint. And again, like he said, winning a goal, it requires the input of all Namibians. Our collective work, our collective approach, our unity, our togetherness will all play into getting a goal. And the way to do it, must you be very firm, overshadow, and fight for godfathership and everything. I think that some people will be touched in a way that they will want to fight back. And again, if you overly exert or play the Nima cards, the rest of Liberia, again, will see you as one-sided, and their dealings with you when it comes to national issues is something that has to be thoroughly streamlined, thoroughly, examined and understood well before you can move on to that. I think the vice president should dedicate responsibility. We are not saying erase yourself from the leadership equation of the country, no. But you, man, will say, what drug may happen? He has exerted every qualities of leadership in Nima, and he's respected and known across the county. I tell you free, if there's an election today without campaign, who will win? You go to Senate election today, you declare election today, he goes there, he will win. So he's lived and touched the lives of almost every, young person in a unique way. So there got to be responsibility now dedicated to other emerging leaders and others who are leaders of the county now. I can bet Nya will not disappoint Kun in the Unity Party equations. Okay, the way we work with Koga again can make Koga to be very confident of working with us and trusting us. Us, I mean the Unity Party arrangement, and that will get him to live and work beyond whatever expectation to deliver the goal. But it will create the fight for power, that entire power struggle in the power play. If we introduce it, I'm sorry, it will undermine our getting a goal, because every individual, whether one or two person, believe in them in a way. How do we amalgamate that strength of belief system across leader. And Nima is so Nima or Liberia is so unique. Liberians follow their leaders. There are some of those who just believe Pogal are my leader. There are some of those who believe Okun are my leader. There are some of those who they don't believe, but you are like, the one who has the opportunity. They have to praise him so as to get a share of the opportunity, because that's what the country is. Everybody has to do certain things to be able to be absorbed in order to ensure their own livelihood. So there are those who thinking the Kunka who may not necessarily be your person, but they are doing it because they want that recognition to be able to be absorbed and live life. So you got to strategically streamline to be able to understand the entire power dynamics and position yourself in such a way to win the goal, because the goal is what we want as a country. So we need to talk to our leaders, let them see reason, let them come together, let them work together, because if they feel themselves, they will not only be feeling themselves, they will also be feeling Nima, and the kind of manpower the country has. Nima is so much strong in terms of output, in terms of academic, in terms of everything. If you can manage Liberia from Nima, Nima will stand. If you manage Nima from Liberia, there's a trouble. So that's how unique Nima County is in Liberia. So on the overall, I would say it was quite a great show. We appreciate all of our panelists. We appreciate your involvement. We look forward to us working together, sharing ideas, and seeing what new flavors can be added to this platform to make it grow. Because we have to be the one to represent the light in the darkened corners of our society. Without us, our country remains dark. We have to shine the lights and make it bright. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Gino.
Thank you, Mr. Matheson.
Yo, you be keeping me like where you're going to me.
Why you calling that guest? Why you guys title your guest and you're not guest?
That mean ready me or that John ready me. You allow me what's in
Don't lie on me, man. I beg you. See how it is. Let's hear you, Chief.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good show tonight. Quite frankly, the guest was knowledgeable to the topic. And people, happy birthday, happy belated birthday, because my gadget, was facing some problem. Later when I got the notification lately, the photo with you, John, Patrick, and myself in 2015.
Yeah.
We called Bangalore and the rest. I said, wow, I have a very memorable photo to post today.
It's all posted, man.
It was belated, so I want to say
better late than never.
So I mean, happy belated birthday. I got a lot of historic photos for us with John and the rest of the guys. But
son, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Thank you for appearing today. We need a lot of Nimbayans, knowledgeable Nimbayans on the platform, and I guess you have been following, like you said. So it's actually Mark Blimon, you try to do the campaign development as to whether you are not a son of Seapley or born in Lonzian. As a matter of fact, Mike is my son. That's why traditionally he and I, regardless of our political difference, we just disagree on policy.
The way I come here, I want to ask on this tradition thing, because for me, I want to learn more. How you guys do the whole tradition thing? You call the mayor your son, but you don't support his political career.
Yeah, because he must say how a very strict political idea before, but he diverted. So I don't hold him responsible because he's a responsible. That my son.
I never support them and say, don't let that man do you, John.
Is it even diverted?
Yeah, so he diverted. So I mean, he's my son, but don't man. All the arguments at the end of the day, we
support them and say,
healthy conversation. He's a very good man.
Robert, you know Mac?
I haven't met him before.
Yeah, the man took the 4th place in the going election.
Yeah,
And
I will
Mac-
follow his
4th place.
work
I know that guy
Definitely.
was Gombu. You got school 4th place.
my people in Mali like him a lot. I heard his name, my auntie, my cousins, they all voted for him. So it was yeah. But I haven't met him in person.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, on certain things, he's one of our good brother. You know, people may have political disagreement along the way, but you know, Gian, for us that follow the trending, political and economic side of our country. To be frank with you, the current state of our economy, I think people on the monetary and the fiscal side, they are doing their best in their capacity and in the little portfolio they have, because that's why I was asking the dad on the issue of our fiscal and monetary side, how we are progressing as a country. Because Liberia as a country right now, we don't have any reliance in terms of export and all of those shock, like the external shock, the internal stock, and all of that, we are all disadvantaged to all. Because you look at even the stock from the shock from the issue of aid. When we had UNMIL, we have all these people in the country, and man, you have over 800 and some more million as remittance as a country from our diaspora citizens and all of that. Currently, our economy is also having problem with that, and beyond that, we also have the USAID. But to me, my point as a student of business or economics, it should not be an excuse, because the greater burden lies on policymakers to make policy that will affect our country. Because sometimes when I listen to policymakers go to the studio to try to escape that, for me, I feel disappointed now, because we support the regime or whatsoever. But to me, it should not even be a justification. But I think this government, like we said, the bread and butter issue, they are doing well on both the fiscal and the monetary side, because with all of those shocks in the economy, right now, if you go to NEMA from our latest survey, you see that gasoline, right now, when you look at the Russia and Ukraine saga, and even in the Middle East, with all of the conflicts there, Liberia is trying. I don't know whether Mark is here. If you look at the issue of the distribution of the storage fee and all of that, also affect the economy. People are also wondering how can Liberia generate revenue. Our revenue envelope also doing well as we speak. In just half of a year now, we have gone like 500 to 600 million. So I think our domestic revenue is.
Let me ask you something quickly before you go to your conclusion. Today, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Liberia posted that they have received some consignment of the rice donated by the Chinese government. I wanted to know whether this will be given to people free, for example, to orphanages, to prisons, or to schools, like the way WFP used to do across the country, or this will be sold on the market like we used to see during the Josh Whaley administration.
I would not want to speak to that, because I'm not caught with the responsibility. Yeah, actually, but what I do know is this government intent is to alleviate poverty. And as you see, Gian, right now, from Ganta to Sekepie now, where it used to be 15,000, now you got just 6,000 or 5,500. So what I do know is, the government, that's why we will have Honorable Bob Kato here on Tuesday. because they are also caught with the responsibility to lay out the policy on how these donations, because from what I understand, is that the National Food Assistance Agency is also responsible. Those days when we were in school and people went to high school, like in Ivory Coast, you had the ADRA where you had the school feeding. Even in Liberia, you also had a school feeding. So they will have a statutory responsibility of making decisions on this one in line also with the Commerce Ministry. So I can tell you,
you never experience it.
Yeah, in the next 1-2 years, you will see how the economy will boom, because from the fiscal and the monetary side, at least you can see some difference as to previous economic performance. So with all of these shocks, and with the absence of this contribution to our economy, the IMF is also helping. With the little knowledge we have in the country, and they are doing well. So I mean, as a country, little as we go, there will be improvement. But people also need to understand not just the theoretical side, but the practical side of our economy, as to people can say bread and butter issue in the country. So I think we are doing well as a country. For me, that's my position. It's not the position of the platform that
Thank you.
the vice president that presided over the economic crisis and all of that. I think he had done extremely well. We just need to improve on some of these things, because you even see foreigners presiding and say, oh, the men will lack our economy. Who are those Lebanese or Indian guys? There are a lot of work we will formulate. We don't want to move people from the market. It's a free market, but equally, Liberians also need that opportunity to grow the economic, stuff. That's why you see the pressure on the US dollar is very high now. You see the strength of the Liberian dollar have appreciated to that level. So I think the people on the monetary side, in line with the finance ministry, they are doing extremely well. Thank you.
Thank you, Siawete. Shadrach, let's hear you.
Before Shadrach coming in, Rob.
Yeah, I'm here.
You got 1 minute to shed light on. I think from what the point that Siawete making is very, very important. From what I understood, what Doc said was he was speaking based on data and the performance of the economy, and he talked about inflation, how it went from a certain point to a certain point. And he also praised the government. He said they've been doing good when it comes to road connectivity, but I think the overall economy there has been no big movement in it, and he feels that going from 13% inflation rate to 12% is not a big move. It's still high, and our folks are still struggling from unemployment. There has been no new job created and stuff like that. I think that's what he was speaking to. But Rob, you want to say 1 or 2 things to that?
No, but CEO, I beg you, 30 seconds. The dark argument, that's where I'll come in, right? The first thing, if you had inflation that was at 13% or 12.5%, and you are reduced to 12%. So if your argument be the issue of inflation, and inflationary policy or argument is one of the huge argument we have in our country. So the issue of people having the purchasing power, that's another huge achievement of the government. So that did not have the time to actually be here, but I think the first approach of the government to stabilize or carry the US rate and prices to that level, I think is appreciable. But the issue of job, if you listen to the labor ministry, the commerce and that of finance, the finance minister also make a position. As we speak, the labor minister, that's why the town hall meeting or town house conference is going on in the country. So I think from that point, the government is taking a very huge approach. If you go to, for example, to renewable energy, the government in electricity is also providing jobs. And that's why I keep saying, as a country, once our country is not yet industrialized, it still becomes a challenge. Whether you bring the last Barack Obama or whosoever economy in this country, it still remains a challenge. So once we have that policy, it will be gradual. It is a gradual process. So for me, we really needed the old man to be on the show to ask him some questions. To me, that's my point. Yeah.
I think I'm going to tread really carefully here, because it's too early to determine real economic performance.
Right.
There are several macroeconomic indicators that are trending positively. For example, there's a reduction in the month-over-month inflation rate, but we need to see if that is sustainable, given the fact that we still have the challenge of imported inflation. Imported inflation means inflation that is an external shock from goods and services that we import into the country. And I also want to be careful, because while it is true our exchange rate is doing well against the dollar, I also want to be careful here, because we don't know what's driving that performance and whether this can be continued long term. There are positives and negatives to that, actually, but I want to be careful how we address it.
Right.
And yeah, you also want to look at GDP growth. We see also positive indicators. GDP is growing gradually, steadily, the language is. But again, we want to see how that turns out, especially with going close to the the Christmas. A lot of things can happen, leading to Christmas. So whether these exchange rate, phenomena will continue, whether the CBL will try to infuse some liquidity into the market, it all depends, right? Because we know money supply is one of the major culprits of inflation. It boom during Christmas will affect that exchange rate between the Liberian dollar and the US dollar. Yeah, and we also want to look at trade balance for our current account.
Right.
We see that it is still bad. So, and this is one major indicator, of growth, but that deficit still remains large. So a lot of things are interplaying, but I don't want to be too affirmative as to this performance,
right?
Because it is too early to determine.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to inject that. But Shad, we can go to Shadrach now to take us home.
Shadrach, take us home on this. Let's hear you, Chief.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, CEO, and thank you to Mr. Swankali for economic ideology. And also the fund out men who do have money, but every day we're facing problem with money issue. Like all the speakers, spoke well. I'm not a student of finance, but with our local experience in our country. I mean, before I forget, let me just agree with Raul shortly. Like he said, when the season is coming, a lot of things interplay when it comes to the inflation rate or dropping or increase. So there's my personal opinion. Let me tell you, the government may hold the money to bring down adequate inflation, but what actually happened now is because of the season is approaching. So the 60% of business in our country is controlled by the foreigners, especially Lebanese and the Fulanese. So what they do when they know that they see they coming closer, a lot of people traveling out of the country to buy goods, they hold on to the money to get a lesser rate and take the money and go buy that goods. When they bring the goods back and they carry the rate up, then at the end of the day, they always benefit and suppress the citizen. This is what I observed years upon years, not only once. Now they decrease of rates. to me, it's artificial. It's not a plan, a policy coming from government to say government controlling it. Seriously. That's my personal opinion, not a opinion on the platform. Based on my experience, we go to local shop to go buy. We know what they do. So now even where I live, about 3 business women, they are traveled to China for their Christmas goods. They were traveling, they were looking for US. No, seriously. So what they people do now, the business people that are holding on to the LD for US rate to come down, go buy their goods. When they come back with their goods in the country, then they release the US rate, then they benefit. Because now they will buy it at a lower cost of the US rate, and then come back and sell the goods, and they know carry the rate up. You go buy at higher rates. That's what they do. So I'm not no sooner economy, but this is what I realized for the past 5-7 years in this country is reality. I'm telling you. So issue to the guest from there that Kompu spoke well is a knowledgeable woman, pure academia. My question I asked about the professor business in Liberia, it actually have to do with when somebody enter classroom in Liberia, there 2-3 times they refer to themselves as professor. Yeah, so it kind of impersonating in academic arena. So we got to deviate from that thing. No, I was first seeing right CEO when I was instituted Stockholm University. So I wrote to my instructor, hey professor, I need SYZ, can I get it? Can you hear me? Before the men even address the issue that I was concerned about, he first got to correct me, say, Shadow, thank you for your email, but can I correct my title as assistant professor, not professor? There are requirements that can make you become professor. It varies from university from country to country based on geographical location. But at least the minimum could be somewhere at least with masters who have the article being published and accepted by evaluators whatsoever in society, and it could be used for a material for reading in school or whatsoever. Then of course you can put yourself into that category, maybe assistant or maybe associate professor whatsoever. But once somebody take chalk in this country and stay on blackboard, student, hello, I'm John Brown, then they are professor. Too much in our society. And you will not see one article about them in the public. They can read about this. Okay, this man conducted research in the area. He gave fact findings, and the fact finding is at least 25% accurate. Then we'll be talking about academic issue that they may is accurate in terms of what he possessed as a title. So that's what my concern I asked him. Even though he gave no answer, little bit close to what I was saying, but he said anybody why
you are giving analysis on the monetary side, in terms of salary, as to how people, they don't qualify.
Chief, don't call me order. I will charge you for content without cutting my time. No, because speaking the money better 2 times. Nobody cut you off, man.
The minister and monetary policy, no. So Shadow, I have my suggestion to you.
Yeah.
You in Liberia, man, you want a big man there. We got something in our company called Got Ideas. So when you get some type of idea, suggestion, you can take it. Got ideas. So my suggestion to you is to write the Ministry of Education. Tell them your portfolio and let them know your concern. You never know. They might take that into serious consideration and act upon it.
Yeah, you see, so reason though, somebody see now we got
Scarlet too.
We're gonna have no issues. So now we got bring the society, and then people say I think taking a back from what they don't deserve. I think the kind of a title they don't deserve.
Yeah,
people who are going
so we gotta get
I gotta run, man. I gotta meet dinner, guys. I'm begging you.
Yeah.
But I put on this man. I said, yeah, man. I guess, man.
I gotta run, gentlemen. I'm begging you. We'll see you tomorrow by the grace of God.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah, Rob. Nice meeting you, man. So yeah, see you that day. Actually, inspire your society. That's why you see other people go, they try to impersonate and inflicting a lot of bad party society. It's not right. People just claim themselves to be who they are, and they don't even practice one. Yesterday we discussed how to cope up for defining the education system, which is wrong. So all of us, you start doing it. It's also about different system because if we don't be that criteria, don't say you are. But at your level, you yeah.
1 minute, on a couple, he reached out to me yesterday that sorry, my camera, I told you I get late, probably the video. He said he will come tomorrow to respond to Kelekbo. I actually forgot on the issue of the agenda of spraying ourselves. We not put our egg in one basket because I think Kelekbo respond to that was he created an avenue for Cooper to go to the CDC when they ask him.
Who's Cooper? Who Cooper?
I said, Doc Cooper.
Oh, Doc Cooper. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so he want to respond to that tomorrow. So in few minutes tomorrow, before Cooper come, he will do a response then on our Cooper Victor again.
You think one or two people we easily
no, for just maybe like 30 minutes or 20 minutes.
We can discuss.
Chief, you can put time for inspector, you can address.
Sadra. Okay, that if we'll discuss
let's discuss that in house.
That if
Yeah, so it was really a great show.
Anyway.
Yeah, it was a really great
for me
show tonight.
For me to combat two of them, it will not be easy tomorrow. So it better he can after better have don't wait. You can say address anytime. Maybe Wednesday we can give me that time.
Gentlemen,
yeah, Shadrach, the CEO said we'll discuss that in house. So
yeah, okay.
We've exhausted our time here today, and Dr. Gompo did his thing. He stressed out some key points, and one of the things I admire about him tonight is that once he answered our question, he always gave a recommendation for some of those things that need to be done, especially when it comes to the economic side of our country. He gives recommendation about those things. And I'm in solidarity with Manchester United. As part of my solidarity, I'm not shaving my hair until Manchester United win 5 games in a row.
You will die in solidarity.
I made a post today. I said I want to use one of my namesake. I think we said English on it, man.
Nothing.
Yeah, they saw Onana today. Onana play again, and we are the man of the match.
Yeah.
Where they saw him?
Onana went to
He went
to Turkey. And he played.
No, it will go there. That's not a funny thing.
Goalkeeper, you say you don't want to go to Galatasaray.
So when I say, and the man, when I say that it is you.